Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation reads like this. Hello my brother, how are you? I have a story that I want to share with you. I want to confess firstly that I am a witch. My grandmother was the one who made me to join witchcraft. She made me to join this witchcraft business from a very young age. By the time that she passed away, I was already a fully fledged witch. When my grandmother was about to die, she then did the vows that she did. She did these vows so that her daughter, who was working in South Africa, could not refuse by the time that she wanted her to come back to Zim. After she had done the vows, that is when my auntie, who was in South Africa, quickly rushed back to Zim because my grandmother told my auntie that she wanted to speak with her just before she died. When auntie came, my grandmother said that I was supposed to be there when she would be speaking with my auntie. So my auntie came over to our house. Then she picked me up and we went together to my grandmother's house. Whilst we were there, one day, auntie, me and grandmother, we were just watching some movies. Then grandmother said that she was going to her bedroom. When she had gone to her bedroom, she then called out to me so that I can come to her bedroom. So I went to her bedroom. When I was inside her bedroom, she said, "Can you come closer to the bed?" So I went close to the bed. Then she said, "Hold my hand." And as I was holding her hand, then she said, "Daughter of my daughter, this will be the last time that we will be holding hands in this world. But fear not, for in your dreams I will always be present so as to guide you to your true nature." Her hands were so cold at that time, and because I was still so young when I was holding my grandmother's hand like that, I could not understand that the reason why her hands were being so cold, it was because she was already dying. She then said, "Go out now, my daughter's daughter, and call your auntie, for I have something to tell her." So I went out of my grandmother's bedroom. Then I went and I called my auntie, who was busy watching TV. Then she went to grandmother's bedroom. When she was in grandmother's bedroom, I then heard my auntie screaming out loud. That is when I was told that my grandmother had just passed away. Before my grandmother had passed away, during school holidays, she had came to fetch me. Then she said that she wanted to be with me, and I went with her to her house. When I was at her house, she then said I should follow her to the bedroom. So I followed her to the bedroom. She then took out envelopes that had money, and those envelopes, they had different names that were written on them. Then as she was placing those envelopes that had money on the table, she said that this money, it was rent money that she had been given by the people who were renting at her house. After counting the money, she then took a needle, and when she had taken that needle, what she will do is that she will take one knot from each envelope. Then she will stitch the money to the needle. She then packed those envelopes back into the drawer. After that, she said that I had to go to the shops so that I can buy a very small book, those little black counter books. That is the one that I had to buy. So I rushed to the shops. Then I bought a small black counter book. Then I returned back home with that small black counter book. We started writing names. She would tell me the names that I was supposed to write in that small book. As in, I would write a name like Maria Ngube. Then she will say, "Draw an arrow pointing downwards." After writing the name, then she will place a curse afterwards. She would then place these curses by pinning some small pins on the name. The pins are similar to those that are used by tailors when they are sewing their clothes. These pins, they were inside the pocket of her church uniform, so she would take them out. Then she would place the curses on the names that I would have written in that black book. After placing those curses, she will say things like, "You, Maria Ngube, you will die, and you will die without achieving having anything in this world. And I tell you that when you die, you are going to die like a dog. I wrote the names until I felt that my fingers were really painful because I had wrote for many hours. Whenever she would forget the next name, she would then close her eyes as if she was in a trance. Then the name will come to her magically and she will remember the name. Then she will say, "Daughter of my daughter, please write such a name." Then I would write that name. After writing the name, that is when she would then place the curse on that name. Throughout the holiday, what my grandmother will do is that she will start sweeping the yard as she will be bragging and saying that only the strongest come out before the sunset. So my grandmother will start sweeping the yard somewhere around 4 p.m. And as she will be doing her house chores, that is when she will be bragging, saying that only the strongest will come out before the sunset, and only the weakling wait for the sun to go beyond the hills so that they can come out of their hiding place. By this, my grandmother meant that she was a really powerful witch who was not afraid of showing her powers in broad daylight, and she would mock other witches that she claimed to be in the same neighborhood, saying that they were less powerful than she was. She said, "For they are afraid to come out of their hiding place when it is only but daylight. They will only come out of their hiding place to reveal their true powers in the evening." After we wrote the names, then different people would come to collect the names, which seemed to be the names of their relatives that we had written in that cursed black book. My grandmother, in exchange for money, she will give those people the paper in which we had wrote the name of those cursed people. After my grandmother had died, I became a witch and I took her place. Then it happened that there was a funeral in which my husband had to attend no matter what. And as for my husband, as a man that I had given a love potion, he forced me to go with him. So I could not refuse because he kept on forcing me to go with him to that funeral, even though I didn't want to travel with him. So because he just came and he said, "Tomorrow we will be leaving," then he gave me no opportunity to properly cook food for my goblins. I then had a meeting with my goblins and I told them that they were supposed to go and steal food at our neighbor's house. As per my instruction, I was going to tell them which houses that I will permit them to go and steal some food, for I had no chance to cook large quantity of food for them so that they can eat when I will be at the funeral. I left, but when me and my husband left, I didn't notice that one of my tokoloshis had followed me behind. And just when we were on the bus, that is when I saw that the tokoloshi all along, it had been following me. After insulting that tokoloshi a little bit, but I felt sorry for it, knowing that as the youngest amongst all of my tokoloshis, it was always a victim of abuse. After insulting it, I then allowed it to get into my handbag and stay put, so it did. It entered into my handbag, and as we were traveling to Rusape, that tokoloshi was busy being mischievous. It transformed itself and it became something like money. When it came time for me to pay for the bus ticket, I just pulled money out of my handbag. I then paid and I was given back my bus ticket. That was when I saw two other powerful, strong goblins that came rushing into the bus, and just behind them was the owner of the bus. He then shouted at me and he said, "What have you done? How dare you pay for the ticket using your goblin?" I wanted to fight, but I felt trapped and I was outnumbered, for his tokoloshis were more powerful and there was no time for me to call for backup. So I surrendered and I apologized and told the bus conductor that I had made a huge mistake by giving him money that was damaged. So I asked him to give me my money back so that I can pay him with money that was not damaged. Then he said, "Do you still know your money? For I have mixed the money that you have given me. I don't even know which one is your money now." Then I said, "No, show me the money that you have." When he showed me, I then picked up the money, for I knew that this one was my money. After I had found the money, I placed it inside my handbag. Everyone thought that I was just nothing but an honest lady, but they didn't have a single idea as to what kind of a spiritual battle had just occurred as the bus was moving. When I had placed the money back in the handbag, I waited for the goblin to transform itself into its original state. I then started pinching it out of anger. I pinched it so much that I forgot that babies up to the age of 5, their third eye is still opened. They can still see and hear everything that happens in the spiritual world. So the child that was sitting opposite to the seat in which me and my husband were sitting, when that child then heard the tokoloshi crying. When that child heard the tokoloshi crying in pain, that child cried and the child nearly died of shock. Everyone that was on the bus thought that maybe something had stung the baby or something had bitten the baby, like a poisonous snake or a spider had bitten that child. But everyone, after they had looked underneath the seats, they saw nothing. What they didn't know is that this child had heard everything that was happening in the spiritual world. The child was scared because he had heard the scary sound that had came out of that tokoloshi's mouth. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received. Then I had to ask one of our admins to give us a translation.